Hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara. This week I'm joined by Oxnard Gothic Soul band, the Crystal Tears. The band takes soul groove inspiration from Chicano legend Sonny Ozuna with brooding keyboard, guitar, and cello, violin soundscapes, and bilingual lyrics to create a unique self-coined sound called Gothic Soul Groove. We just premiered the first single of their new album, set to release on Yay Records, run by Bayo himself. How's it going, guys?
Thomas, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you guys back.
Yeah, same here, man.
Last time we had you in here was for the live set. You guys did an acoustic set, which was sick. And so
thank you for that. I love acoustic sets.
You know, yeah, I heard some really a good feedback from friends who are listening to the show.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they could really appreciate the all the different parts that are usually very loud and just kind of saturated.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded really clean when we performed it at your studio, because they said that they could hear all the lyrics, they could hear all the guitar parts really clearly.
Mm-hmm.
It was very different, and they really enjoyed it. It's a nice different take on what we do.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I got a lot of good feedback from it too. Everybody was saying it was like one of the sickest like sets on the show and stuff. So yeah, you can find anybody listening if they want to see that. That's at youtube.com/TBD presents. As we record this though, it's July 4th. You guys have any like plans or anything for today? I know you were saying you just like rehearsed with Maria, your other band.
Well, I'm going to go and hang out with my folks, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I have a very strange schedule, which doesn't allow me to really hang out with my family much.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, quite literally, I usually, I'm here in this studio till about 3 a.m. most nights.
That's crazy.
And, yeah. So I always end up going home like around 4.
Yeah.
I teach music, and I do that in the afternoon. So that means that I don't really have to be up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We do work on music pretty much all night, but it doesn't allow me to actually sync up with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So this is a good opportunity for me to actually just like relax and hang out with my folks, So that'll be great.
That's sick, man. How about you, Bayo?
Yeah, we had a rehearsal earlier for Maria. He's playing tomorrow at the Mystery Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on the 5th at the Mystery Shop.
For the big Mystery Shop Fest, the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah. We were just talking about that, how they had the Thursday concert, Boy Girl, Romper. What were the other bands? The Detach?
And Sheep Ditch, the noise band. Yeah, it was just like a sick mix of like 4 different genres in like, historic Plaza Park. Yeah, sick.
So that was cool. And you were there, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. What were you saying about Maria too, by the way, before we start talking more about like other stuff? But you're saying this is going to be like the first set, or now it was the first set with like 2 female singers in Maria?
Yeah, correct. So we've been kind of trying different singers for Maria over the past year or so. And so we're trying Solchid and Zuli. And this is the first time Maria is going to have 2 female vocals, like lead vocals.
Yeah.
2 female vocals, period. And the rehearsals have been fantastic. Like it reminds me a little bit like kind of like Go-Betweens in terms of like the male-female dynamic, the harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
They're really gelling together really nicely. So just really excited to have them for the show. Yeah.
That's sick, man. Yeah. And I guess anybody listening, Maria is like one of Eric's bands from like, when did you guys start? Like 2004 or something like that?
2002.
Oh, yeah. 2002. Yeah. 2002. And there was a revival a couple years ago, I think now. And yeah.
And Naomi is here.
I just got here. Hi.
Oh, how's it going, Naomi? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
But that's sick, man. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like you said, Maria formed 2002, broke up in 2010, and then reunited in late 2023. So just kind of navigating through the rebirth with that. But yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Naomi?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. And then Naomi just walked in. I guess like before we jump further in, do you guys want to just like introduce yourselves real quick and like what you guys play in the Crystal Tears?
I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Guitar, and I play the cello, the violin, and the guitar,
Oh, hell yeah. So sick.
and sometimes backing vocals.
Looking to get more vocals from Ekar.
Oh, cool!
Heck yeah.
Practicing.
I'm Naomi. I sing.
Sick.
You also play a little flute.
Not really for Crystal Tears.
Yeah.
Maybe some flute in the future.
Yeah, she plays flute. She's good.
That's sick.
I play a little saxophone, guitar, sing, played some keyboard. Yeah, a little bass.
Cool. And I know there's just 3 of you here, but there's usually more in the Crystal Tears, right? And more people that play with you guys.
Yes, absolutely. Nesta is unavailable, and Hector. Hector's here. Hector, like he's a little soft spoken and takes a back seat in terms of these kind of interviews and whatnot. So,
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I was gonna say, did you guys have any lineup changes with the Crystal Tears recently, or was that just like with Maria that you had like lineup changes too? Because I know you guys like share members with like your other band as well.
Yeah. It was for both groups. So
Okay.
we haven't actually performed in a while. A little bit of that. We only had one show this year, and it was in LA with Jeremy J.
Oh yeah.
Not the venue. What's the venue?
Zebulon. Yeah.
Great venue. So yeah, we haven't had a chance to really navigate through the lineup change. We've been also just finishing out the album.
Yeah.
And so now as we roll out the album, we're going to revisit collectively like how to move forward with our lineup.
Cool, dude. Well, I'm excited to see what comes out of that. I guess before we get more into like the new album and stuff, but I guess for anybody that's like not familiar with the Crystal Tears, do you want to just like tell me a little bit more about like the project and stuff?
Yeah, we formed in summer of 2023. Initially, it was as Los Bellos, and we were doing more like covers initially at the time, like of course "Smile Now, Cry Later," covered by Los Periculas, Donnie and Joe Emerson, Dream About by the Poppy Heads. Those were some of the covers we were doing, as we're a little more soul influenced at the time. And then in 2024, we rebranded as the Crystal Tears.
Yeah.
Naomi joined along with Nesta, and then we really kind of went more in that goth direction.
Yeah.
Naomi plays in Nights on Neptune. She sings on Nights on Neptune.
Sick.
She really brought that element to us that like I was actually really looking for. I met her at a goth night that I put on, and actually it was a Halloween show. Yeah. And she wanted Nights on Neptune to play on a goth night. So I put Nights on Neptune on, and I saw how fantastic of a performer she is. So we had Maxine from Boy Girl singing with us initially.
Oh, that's sick.
So she joined Romper at that time. And so, we had a vacancy. I just really wanted a female singer. I wanted all of us to kind of sing. Hector was singing a few songs in the beginning along with me and Maxine. So I wanted that element. So I saw Naomi, and I was like, honestly, like kind of blown away. And so I asked her if she would want to perform with us, and she said, yeah.
That's sick. So was Hecker over here an original member as well, or did he come later?
At the beginning, yeah. So I joined them way back when we were the Fabulous Friends, and then we switched to Los Bellos. I was originally playing the guitar for pretty much every song, but once we switched to the goth idea, that started to get way more experimental, which is honestly the entire reason why I started to participate now fully on the indie music scene, because I really wanted to explore new styles and just combine things. And I really like when bands just experiment and each member might bring a different vibe and a different style, and they just become a melting pot, and it just turns out to be sometimes a completely different style, and sometimes the beginning of a whole new genre, even, sometimes in the case of certain bands, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's more rare, but I'm in this because I really enjoy the process in general. I have never expected, for example, to hear cello on a goth band also does cumbia.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool because you are encompassing a lot of different musical tastes, and it makes it also very relatable. Even though a lot of us have extremely different musical backgrounds, but if we can find the aspects of those styles that merge together well, I mean, that's when you can have a band that eventually develops their own particular style. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Is this like, I know you've been like working with like music and stuff in like your studio for a very long time now. Is this like the first time you've ever seen something like a band like this before?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, because I never heard of a style like this before. It's exciting.
That's sick.
I have worked as well, I mean, not right now, but the way I met Eric originally was because I opened my own production studio in a long time ago. This is like mid 2000s. And he was one of my very first clients, at the recording studio. And he brought in bands from Yay Records, he recorded Maria there, the very first, Catwalk, etc.
Sea
Lions is right. I mean, so there's a lot of Yay records that were recorded there. And so we established a relationship that way because I knew that he was committed to the local music scene. I really enjoy working with all the bands and working with Yay records in general. So it wasn't really, it was a no-brainer, when he suggested that we work together as a band.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I always looked at the bands that he was signing on to Yay Records, and I always liked their vibe, and I liked their idea of just doing their own thing, and creating something that was peculiar to Oxnard,
Yeah, for sure.
That ended up developing into its own sound and its own vibe. It's really cool to now be participating into that. That's really cool. So yeah, I
continuing the legacy.
I also want to mention that Naomi, in her own right, is very diverse with her talents. Like, she's also going to Moore Park College right now as a music major.
Yeah. So
you're studying opera, right?
Yeah, like classical and other things. Yeah.
In a play?
Oh yeah, I'm currently a lead in a musical. So
dude, that's sick.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've never been in one before, but I thought it would be fun.
What's the musical?
It's called A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder at Moore Park College.
Hell yeah.
Funny. It's pretty good. Tickets are already on sale for it.
Sounds like a great title for a Gothic song.
For sure. When is that happening if people want to go see Crystal Tears' side project?
My side projects, July 17th through August 3rd.
Sick, dude. I was actually going to tell you, but I haven't seen you since then, but I saw you singing at the Moore Park College graduation. I went for like one of my friends.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Yeah, I sang national anthem, or I was one of the people who sang it there.
Yeah, I was like telling my friends I was sitting with, I was like, dude, that's my friend Naomi.
Oh, that's so awesome. I figured somebody that knew me was gonna be there, but awesome.
Hell yeah.
They have done several productions there already, right? You know, like musical theater or
oh yeah, it's just
opera.
my first one trying it out there.
Mm-hmm. Sick, dude. Well, I guess I also wanted to talk to you about, because I know you were saying you started off more soul and whatnot. Oh wait, go ahead. What were you gonna say? Oh, okay, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, you guys started off like more soul. And I know Oxnard kind of has like a growing like soul scene. I guess, is that like what you're kind of like inspired by? Like you wanted to like participate in that before you kind of like started doing a little bit something different? Like I know like solos and like Los Honeys and stuff were kind of like pioneering that.
Yeah, great question, Thomas. Thank you for asking. Also, I know I already said this, but thank you very much for having us. I don't want to take this opportunity for granted. You know, the forum that you have, obviously you're known in the community as such a big positive force with what you do with TBD. So, you know, thank you for, you know, you had us last year in the studio. That was such an amazing experience for us. So to take the time to ask us these questions and you know, give us this forum, you know, thank you very much.
Of course, man. Glad to have you guys here.
But yeah, so great question. I was trying to go into the soul direction in 2010 with Ye, because I felt like Ye was cool. He was indie pop, but I felt like I wasn't resonating with the community, and I needed to actually change direction to resonate stronger. So we started to have like soul DJs at our events and in old school DJs, and it was vinyl.
That's sick.
So we, the Woolworth building in downtown Oxnard, we used to have shows there. We called them Pop and Fresh. So bands play, and bands from like out of the area, like the Beats, who I am told the Beats is now Juan Waters.
Oh, dude, the Beats. That's crazy. You hosted them. They're so sick.
Like that. Crystal Stilts, who was on Captured Tracks. So like, we were getting these out of town bands. So like the rest of the world was aware of what Ye was doing, to be honest. But I felt in Oxnard, no, like it wasn't resonating. People didn't really care. And so I was a little disillusioned. And my thought was, you know what? I think I needed like pivot. And so I was going to try and go into soul and old school, but I ended the label instead. I also think that, you know, God didn't think it was right yet. Like, because there wasn't a market for soul yet. Like the soul revival bands that we have now, these Sacred Souls, etc., Duran Jones Indications, like there wasn't a market for that in 2010.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that was like very much like a 2017 era when I noticed all those soul bands getting big, you know?
Exactly. So fast forward to 2023, I think it was, when I saw Los Solos in February 2023. I was invited. Actually, it was my mom had a flyer from her best friend. Her best friend is the aunt of Richie, who sings and plays drums for Los Solos. So I went to Casa Agria, and I was blown away. Like, you know, what they are doing and still doing is really representing Oxnard in terms of the soul music, and the community, more importantly, was there in numbers supporting Los Solos. Okay, you know, it's time for me to come out of the woodwork now, because I was feeling, okay, I think I might want to come back into music again. I was starting to put the catalog, the Ye Records catalog, on streaming services. So I created an Instagram, and people were like wanting to buy the records again. And I saw Los Solos, and I was thinking, you know what? Okay, there's a market, there's a community. People are here, they're ready. And so Los Solos really inspired me to come out and want to perform again, form what became Los Bellos and eventually the Crystal Tears. So yeah, like props goes to Los Solos, and not only Los Solos, but the local bands that are here, because there's so much talent, you know, as you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Seeing the talent here really got me inspired to want to get involved again.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome. So you started making just like soul music, soul covers, as you were saying, and then you kind of like, I guess I want to talk a little bit too, like, is there much of like, I know there's sort of like a soul scene and stuff that like came up in recent years. and then you started going more into goth. Is there more of like a goth scene around here, or like what's up with like the goth scene in like the 805?
I definitely think there is one. I feel like especially with the youths, they're all going to the goth events now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know like
an offer to that is that I've always been aware that in Latin America in general, goth is a big deal. I am from Mexico City, and I can attest to that. I mean, I had band members from like back in the day when my very first bands in Mexico City that they dress goth, they listen to goth music all the time, even though the bands I was playing with were more rock or metal.
Yeah.
Goth was such a huge deal since then. It still is today. So if you are Latino from anywhere, it just seems like it's always been very present.
Yeah, for sure. I also feel like, you know, in like recent years too, goth has been kind of making a little resurgent, or at least like post-punk type music and stuff like that, you know, with bands like Pink Depression, and then Tanner is doing his like goth nights, and then you're also working with him to do like goth DJ nights and stuff like that. Do you want to talk a little bit more about like kind of like that sort of revival here in the 805?
Yeah, you're right. I feel like the dark wave scene as like, I don't know how far it goes back, 2015, maybe earlier than that. In terms of the 805, more recently, like with Pink Depression. So credit goes really good to Pink Depression and the Noches Tristes that they've been putting on. But I think Naomi was kind of alluding to that, like the younger generation is really responding. So Naomi's a little younger than that, so I think she can really kind of like see and connect with that. So like, you want to speak to like also the aesthetic too?
Yeah, I feel like with the internet, the aesthetic has become really popular, which then leads people into like delving into the music possibly.
Yeah.
And yeah, now that we have access to like everything, there's plenty of people I've met who are like 17, 18, and like they love like music from the 80s. And like I've met a lot of people like this recently, and they're always looking for goth places to go. And I feel like there's not that many in the 805, so we really have to put on the events ourselves. Like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like you guys have been like kind of putting on like events and kind of like pioneering this scene a little bit too, you know?
Yeah, no, a great point. I feel like they come out. Like we put on a goth night at the Sewer, and a lot of people I'd never seen before, younger. Yeah, well, we did shows at Miss Olson's last year, and like, a lot of the young kids went to that. Yeah,
and I feel like all of that kind of like was a culmination to like your goth night at the music hall too, which was like really sick.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, do you want to talk more about that as well?
Yeah. What did you?
You know what? No, you want to?
Oh, go ahead.
You know, because I wanted to comment on this. I want to say something about not so much the show, because I mean we all agree that it was a blast. It was great.
Naomi coming out of a coffin.
Oh,
that was so sick. I can't wait
that's sick.
to happen again.
But yeah, you know what I want to say is like what happened after the show, because when I came out, me and some friends went to just have late night dinner. I call it lunch because of my crazy hours, right?
Yeah.
With some buddies to like Dennis or whatever. And as we walked in, you could see that as if it looked like Dennis was the goth party, because so many people from the show went to Dennis afterwards too. Wow. So it was like, hey, you were at the show. Hey, hey, cool. Hey, what's up?
That's sick.
And as me and my friends were sitting, more people from the show started pattering in to Dennis, with like makeup and like the black eyes and all of that, and all the the cool clothes and all of that. So it's like we know where they're coming from, So it's like it was really something. It was really fulfilling to see that, because it means that there's like a whole audience for this, and they came out for that show. It became like the highlight. I think they brought a lot of people that we never thought,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it was it felt like this was like a town level kind of thing,
That's awesome.
That's so cool. I wish I had known about that. Like that reminds I go to see my favorite band somewhere and I go somewhere late after and I recognize all the people that are like my community, the same people that went to see that artist.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we were able to do that along with Glass Spells.
Dennis became goth.
Yeah, right.
Or I noticed that since the music hall performance, particularly around town, like I get recognized as, oh, you're the singer in the Crystal Tears, or you're the girl, like at like Patty's or like any random place.
Oh, wow.
And they'll be like, I was at the music hall, and I'm like, whoa, no way.
That's sick.
Yes, that has happened a few times. You know what it is also, and this is something that I definitely find different about this band, and it makes me very happy about, is that when Naomi came in, I feel that she made all of us step up our game as far as stage presence.
Oh yeah.
Because she came in with like her own style of makeup and like the clothing, just to get the the vibe on stage right. And it, oh wow, we better step it up.
You were very open to the capes. You're like, who wants the cape? Like, who wants eyeliner? Like,
and we went from capes to like coffins, to like smoke and whatever. But it just it was cool because now it makes the entire band feel like a unit.
Yeah.
And it's not just the music, because the music has its own organic development. But as I look, I could say that Naomi definitely helped a lot. Not only that, but she was actually doing all of our makeup backstage, at the Ventura Music Hall.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Why we had makeup in the first place was thanks to Naomi.
Yeah. I feel like I understand that like visual identity is really important, and that's like a marker of, I feel like every iconic artist ever has like looks where you put something together and you're like, oh, you're referencing that artist. It's really cool to think that we could have that. And I feel like we are achieving it because, I mean, I don't know how else people would just be recognizing me, even outside of it, just because I don't know. Well, maybe it's just because I'm like short and always wearing something weird. Like maybe that's why people recognize me, but it's just funny to know and it's cool.
I think they recognize. So I feel Naomi took us to this other level. I think what can potentially make us something cool is her talent. Like when she joined, like the talent she has took us to another level. And so our album's coming out and we're really excited, but I'm really excited about the next album because they're going to be more involved, and Naomi, hopefully some songwriting.
Sick.
And I've already noticed her growth as a singer since she's been with us. Obviously, she's putting in the work with Moore Park College and her arias that she sings for her class in school. Next batch of songs, like it's gonna be fun, especially with Naomi.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm excited. Yeah. I really on this upcoming album, I mostly only got the reins on like one song, just with circumstances of like me joining in with a bunch of songs already written.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that too, and I do really enjoy that song that you encouraged me to be a part of the songwriting on.
Yeah.
Sick, dude. Yeah. I know you got to sound good to look cool too. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So they're recognizing you because you're a talent.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of mentioned right now a little bit about like your upcoming album, the one that's going to drop real soon. When's the release? I guess before we talk about the release date, can you tell me more about your album and the single we just listened to?
Yes. So that's Vampiro. And it's a Gothic cumbia. And like Ekar mentioned, I'll let Ekar talk about this because it has a unique blend, I think kind of represents what makes the Crystal Tears a little distinctive. Like there's goth bands out there, there's soul bands out there, there's cumbia bands. We also do dream pop, soul, but the way we blend it together so Vampiro, which is a cumbia, but has goth and has an amazing violin solo
thank you.
from
Yeah.
Eckhart. The fiddle, it's like, yeah, he's getting down. I
It's
hear
so
some
bad.
avant-garde to his playing on that as well.
You know, I let me just put it this way. If anyone had just randomly approached me, hey man, yeah, I'm putting together this band. You know, you want to join in? We're gonna do goth, mix it up with cumbia and soul. We're gonna do parts in English, parts in Spanish. Can you play violin and cello and guitar? I would have been like, slow down. What
Yeah.
Please, let me process that. You know, it's the really cool thing about that is that all of that stuff is organic.
Mm-hmm.
None of this stuff was planned.
Mhm.
We just started kind of playing the songs, trying ideas, you know, as we went. None of this was okay. Meeting. The next direction we're gonna go on is gonna be, you know, this and this and no. It was more like, hey, you know, we're at the rehearsals, just jamming, trying out new songs, and it just kind of started to add parts organically, and then, you know, we had more ideas as we were recording them. And in this one, I want to say it's part of it. I say that style of cumbia that it is not really a traditional cumbia. Yes, I've heard cumbias that have fiddle on it, but it's not the same sound. It's not the same vibe. It's not the same. And the type of fiddle that I use, you know, at least as far as playing is concerned, it's more classical, but I try to make it sound more gypsy.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Music, and as you know, because goth has the vampire theme to it. I actually play music from Romania and Hungary, and you know, so, and that is usually used as soundtracks whenever there's a vampire movie, you know.
Yeah.
I remember
I hadn't made that
Nosferatu,
connection. That's
right?
so creative.
Yeah, because it's like you know, if you watch all the movies that are based on the legends of the, you know, the really ancient legends of vampires, they usually take place in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Right? Dracula himself, was he Hungarian, or was he, like, do you guys? Yeah, that we're just talking about how the old legends of vampires are based on Eastern Europe. There, and the music that they play a lot of the time is gypsy music, gypsy fiddle from Hungary or Romania, you know. So I have played much of that music. I mean, that region of the world has such delightful and spicy melodies, you know. So I played a lot of that music. So I bet that a lot of that sound kind of percolated into the melodies in Vampiro.
Yeah.
And I also, you know, I wanted to make it sound like a cumbia, right? So it's like, how do you do that, right? So it's. I think I did a blend of using the scale that they use, you know, because it's a very exotic scale, but with the cumbia beat and the cumbia groove, but making it sound. Yeah, there's an element of sadness and melancholy, but it's also groovy. So it's I don't know. It's a very. It's at the same time it ended up having the vibe that. Well, I hope it does. That this cumbia could have been written like 2 centuries ago.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean?
cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just it's I don't know.
Well,
That's
I think what Edgar's hinting at is that he is a vampire and he thought of it 2 centuries ago.
That's
and
right.
He just gave us the idea now.
This is a song that I wrote like a while back.
Maybe like 200 years ago.
Yeah. That's sick. So are you guys like exploring this like more on any of the other tracks on the new album? Or like what's the new album called, by the way, as well?
Yeah, perfect segue. There's a new song that I've been working on and I've shared with Naomi. And the premise of that song actually is a vampire that's like 400 years old. a lot of this new inspiration is based off Nosferatu.
Oh, sick.
Naomi, you want to speak to your inspiration on Nosferatu for the new material, but also for a song on this first album called Intertwined.
Yeah. For Intertwined, basically the story of what I wrote about is exactly the Nosferatu movie. Shout out Robert Edgers.
Sick.
I thought it was so good, and I just kept thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, this would be really cool to write about.
Mm-hmm.
That it's very suiting with us, like vampire stories. I'm really looking forward to, like, as much as I'm proud of like this album we're releasing next week, right?
Next Friday.
Yeah. We're already like jumping ahead and having all these ideas for our next album after that. And I can tell there will probably be a lot of inspiration from, like, you know, the dark and mysterious and folklore and tales.
That's right.
Yeah, especially like Latino tales.
Yeah, now we were saying that Naomi is planning to use her coughing as a recording booth.
Oh, sick.
Get to some sound. So
Yeah, right.
Without giving away too much, like she mentioned, we have a Llorona cumbia.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick, dude.
It works. Yeah.
Things like that.
That's dope. So what else are you guys exploring on the new record?
Or on this episode? Okay.
Oh yeah,
On
the
this-
upcoming one. Sorry, the one that is about to release.
Album. So really, it's about. So I feel Crystal Tears. I know it's a lot, and some people might find it kind of dumbfounding and a little challenging, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what it really represents the Chicano experience, because as a Chicano, you know, we grew up with Spanish music around us. So like, it was important to include that bilingual element because yes, that, but we're also here, you know, we're Chicano, meaning we're, you know, our roots are in, you know, Mexico and Latin America, but what we know is here in the States, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to be bilingual in our music, but also like what represents the Chicano experience. Soul, there's rockeros. We, you know, some of us were rockeros, like Eckhart.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of Chicano experience. Cumbia is part of the Chicano experience. You know, Dia de los Muertos, one of the tracks from the album. Like, I literally got inspired. Went to the cemetery a couple of years ago to visit my grandfather, and our family was there. We had bebidas, we had drinks, we had food. We were literally there on Dia de los Muertos celebrating.
Yeah.
Well, and so the direct inspiration for that song is that. And that, again, it's just about encompassing the Chicano experience, meaning like, yeah, we like soul music, we like Chicano, like cumbia, we also like dream pop, you know. We cover the Cotto Twins, Cherry Funk, and Naomi does a beautiful job with that. So like the Chicano experience is like encompassing a lot of things. And so this album, I think, represents like a full palette. It's not just one genre, because Chicanos love so many things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's cool how you're making it like also relatable to the community you guys are like coming from and stuff, you know? That's sick.
Yeah, I've actually been loving that part of this project and in Spanish and all those things. Because funnily enough, like growing up, I don't know, it must be like the media or just outward influence, but for some reason I didn't want to learn Spanish. Like, I was like, no, I speak English only. Like, it was my second language, and I wasn't convinced to learn it until I was like 9 or 10 maybe. Yeah, I was just so stubborn. I was like, no, I'm from California. I don't speak Spanish. And just I had a lot of, you know, inner turmoil about like my identity as like a Mexican American woman, and like was just thinking like, oh, I should assimilate. I shouldn't be Mexican, if that makes sense. And with this, it does feel like an homage to like everything Chicano, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a very complex subject.
Yeah,
and there is a Mexican author that wrote a book exactly about that. You know, when I read it, he made all of those issues a lot more clear. It's called The Labyrinth of Solitude by Octavio Paz.
Ooh,
he earned a Nobel Prize because of that book, actually.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
talks exactly about all the conflicts, all the inner, turmoil, confusion, identity crisis that we all go as immigrants. This behemoth of a country,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that are very hard to process.
I want to also say thank you very much for that, Edgar. I should read that book. I want to say it's very important for us, especially for me, the Crystal Tears, what we were doing, especially with ICE going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of really speak to the Chicano experience again. And when Naomi was saying when I was doing Yay the first time around, I was assimilated. That's why I came to the Crossroads in 2010. I actually started in 2007, discovering soul music, trying to tap into the Chicano pride.
Yeah.
I kind of pushed that away myself. And so this project is really going back to our roots and embracing that, but also knowing we are here. We're both, and it's just about navigating through that experience. So I think it's really important for us and what we're doing to keep on speaking to our roots, but also being aware of the current community because of what goes on around us, like ICE and our gente, and navigating through that. So like, hopefully our music kind of like represents like the struggle a little bit, but also like our roots.
Beautiful parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to hopefully has gives you a feeling of unification in a way.
Yeah.
Of putting all the elements together of what it means to have this experience.
Yeah. And it's awesome knowing that like music is forever, because hopefully like that's an impact we'll have. Like even if it's to a small group of people or to one person who like hears it and they're like, wow, like they're so like adamantly themselves, like embracing their culture, like sharing it with everyone.
I should know after being alive for 500 years.
Yeah. Or worse, 500 years ago.
Also, cumbia is a new punk.
Yeah.
Oh, I still gotta get on that train. I don't know about that.
Well, that was really beautiful, guys. I guess where can people find the album when it comes out? Where can people find it? How can they listen to it?
It'll be streaming everywhere next Friday, July 11th. And then keep your eyes open for the vinyl. So it will be on vinyl, hopefully late August, early September. And we will be celebrating our album release party next Friday at Vida Live in downtown Oxnard.
Nice.
Shout out to Ed Escaleto and Boulevard Nights for being so gracious as to letting us collaborate with him, because he's been putting on these amazing goth versus cumbia nights. Blessed to DJ a couple of them, so thank you very much, Ed Escaleto, DJ Samurai Eddie, who's been incredibly active in the community, DJing some incredibly amazing events for BC Defensa, raising to support the community again for ICE and people who were affected by ICE. So next Friday, Vida Live, 7 p.m. It'll be DJs Samurai Eddie, Nuridi, myself, Bayo, and a special announcement that we were announcing. Ricky has been added. Ricky, who's on Days Records, she's a great synth pop artist. She'll be there DJing as well.
Sick, dude. That's awesome. Are you guys going to be playing a set, or is it just going to be like a listening party?
Just a listening party. So we're playing tracks and just dancing to DJs.
Nice, dude. That'll be fun. Do you guys have any like live gigs coming up or anything?
No gigs at the moment. Our focus was getting this out, and then we're going to revisit again collectively our lineup. So by the time we get to early September and start playing again, actually I take that back. I don't know if I can announce it yet, but we have something in October in LA.
Sick.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that's sick.
Yeah, it's really exciting because to be honest, we don't get very many offers. So every offer we can get, we cherish that. But our spooky season, so to speak, is in September, October, anyways. So yeah, keep an eye out for us to resurface from the coffin.
Awesome, dude. Well, where can everybody keep up with the Crystal Tears?
Yes, Instagram, the Crystal Tears Oxnard, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are on YouTube, Crystal Tears. We're on Spotify, the Crystal Tears.
And then also follow Yay Records too, because you're self-releasing, right? Or Yay is releasing it.
Yes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, is releasing. Thank you.
Yeah, find the Black Strawberry.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, I think that's kind of like just about all the questions I have here. I have one more that I'm pretty sure you guys have answered before, but it's the last question of the show.
Okay.
You guys ready for it?
Yeah.
I don't know, Naomi. I don't remember if you answered it before, but we're going to ask it.
For the kind of question you asked once, yeah.
Okay. So a rat is going to jump into your mouth. Do you want this rat to jump into your mouth head first or butt first, and why? I know Eric's answer.
Oh, you know what? I'm that kind of person that's like, how is this scenario happening? This would never happen to me.
Yeah, we're thinking it.
Probably head first, because I just feel like, I don't know.
It'll go down quicker?
No, you didn't say you have to eat it. I'm thinking you can grab its tail and like pull it out faster.
That's logical.
Ooh, I see.
And I guess if you wanted a scenario, like you're singing, you're in like a goth, I don't know, venue or something like that. There's obviously going to be rats at the goth venue, you know what I mean? And it just falls down and into your mouth while you're singing.
As you're singing.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's horrible. Okay, well, I'll give my answer. And we're going to manifest that we're going to play in a cave at some
Yes.
point.
Oh my
That would
God.
be so sick.
That'd be sick.
There's bats out in the desert, like what is it? Palm Desert, like in that area. They have a lot of bats.
That's basically a flying rat.
There's like little caves in Malibu, right? Like on the beach.
Right, but I don't know if they have bats. But you know, we can still play.
Oh, we need to find bats.
How about you, Ecker?
You know, my scenario is that okay, it's the apocalypse, right? And that's the only food. I'll take it head first, I think.
I respect that. Are you like cooking it first or are you just eating it raw? Like, how are you doing it?
So how many days without eating I've had?
Yeah. You're just like so hungry. It's like live. You're just going to take it down live. I respect that.
I would like to roast it a little somewhat, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And Eric?
Thomas already knows mine.
What I want to know?
Oh, I told him I'm an ass man. So
A rat though? That's crazy.
but it's easier to pull out when you have the tail.
Yeah.
So it's head first, and it's easier to pull out.
Yeah.
I-
But I'm curious, is there a psychoanalysis behind this question, or you just want to see people squirm?
So, you know, I have asked this so many times. I could probably get some like real data on this if like we were going to use it for research, but I never have. Maybe I should do an analysis on it. You know what I mean?
Patterns you've been piecing together with people's answers at all, or?
A lot of people, honestly, it's split 50-50 actually, I feel like. Yeah. A lot of people like to go head first because they feel like that's the most like logical way. And usually when they go head first, they're aiming to like kill it or something.
Oh.
And when it goes butt first, people just think that it's like logical that it's going to like crawl out, you know?
Oh, okay. I
Oh.
hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That makes sense too.
And then a lot of people say they want to go head first because they don't want the tail in their mouth because they feel like the tail would be really gross. That's a really common one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that just about does it for today's episode.
What's your answer?
Oh, my answer? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Secretive.
I go butt first so I can like slurp it down like spaghetti with the tail.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes what I like to say too is I like to go butt first so I can like calm it down and like tame it, like pet it on its head and then put it under my hat and then we can cook together.
Oh,
That's another one I give. Yeah. So just really depends how I'm feeling, you know? Well, that just about does it for today. Thanks for tuning into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. This has been the Crystal Tears out of Oxnard. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank
See
you.
man.